handling production, exports, and quality management. To his credit, he has received prestigious awards like Golden Leaf Award, Golden Leaf Awards from Tea Board of India for India's best orthodox teas, Fine Cup Award for the world's best Arabica coffee specialty, Directors Enterprise Award from Hindustan Lever Limited for the best management effectiveness, and advisory role lifetime membership to United Nations on CSR. He is very passionate to work among the downtrodden and the youth. He has spent a major portion of his free time in conducting motivational sessions and real life management facets for the younger generation. With this introduction, I welcome Mr. Shaji Abraham for the webinar, and now I hand over the session to the speaker. Sir, the session is yours.
Thank you so much, madam, for the kind introduction. As I begin this afternoon, I'd like to welcome you all to this session on such a beautiful theme that you've coined around it, which is we look back into our traditions and we bring back the values that probably have been lost in some time. So I'd like to thank the management of Government College of Technology, Coimbatore, as well as the team that put it together, the principal, the HOD, and the staff who are coordinating this whole session. As I put up my presentation here on traditional foods, I mean, just as during the introduction, madam was saying, you know, I have been working in the plantation sector. Madam, is my slides visible across? Can I just get a feedback, confirmation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Thank you very much. So this afternoon, when we consider the topic of traditional spices and, you know, rediscovering our past, I'm going to talk about the role of spices in our cuisine, which is quite commonly known to everybody, you know, across India. They're known, each state is known for its varied cuisine and variety. But then I have actually worked personally in plantations wherein, you know, the tea and coffee part. Apart from that, I worked on the same plantation which had cardamom, pepper, clove, and cinnamon. These are the 4 products that I'm going to handle today, because I was handling these products personally on the estate and up to its export and marketing. I mean, that's the kind of role that I was playing out there. Today, when we actually open up our discussion and people from across India, different states, you're all connected on this platform. I mean, I would like to look at this period that we are going through, which is the, you know, the lockdown across the country in various places, the COVID scenario wherein there are restricted work habits and practices happening. Probably most of us unable to go to the institutions or do the normal role of work from there. And we hear the world across around us speaking about things like immunity, speaking about safety of intake of food and water and exposure to the world outside, social distancing. Various things that when they talk about, you know, end of it, it all actually boils down to the kind of culture that we have had in our country. Probably if you look back at the deep-rooted culture of our nation, I think our nation is provided much more to the global platform than any other country in the world probably has, through the traditional value systems that we have and the traditional, you know, medical systems. Probably they are not proven to be something of an elaborate nature, but then, you know, the inbuilt value systems which our grandmothers and our great-grandfathers had followed is even today coming back into the system. And I find if you go through YouTube, probably one of the biggest things that's catching up on YouTube today is cookery sessions. You know, most of the people at home are now trying to cook new things, getting back into the old systems. And one of the, when your topic came up to me, I was actually going through YouTube and, you know, just searching through various videos, and I found the maximum number of views or the highest viewership is coming for things with traditional food recipes that are being prepared live. And people are actually having a penchant for that right now. Now, today, it's the right time to discuss this topic. And I'm so glad to join you because with my background of experience on cardamom, pepper, cinnamon, and clove, I'm actually going to talk to you about my experiences with these products or these spices, as well as what its effect on today's modern day world is. I mean, how the world is changing and things around us are changing. If you look at this particular slide, you know, here it says, spices form a very integral part of Indian cuisine, you know, which adds purpose to taste. It adds purpose to taste. So I really want to use that caption of adding purpose to taste. You know, that's what it is. It's not just taste, but it is adding purpose to taste. Now, what do you mean by adding purpose to taste? I'm just going to use a pointer so that I can actually highlight as we go across. I mean, let me use a pointer with a different color. So see, I'm using a red pointer today so that I can highlight the areas. You see this word purpose down here. This is what I want to highlight about today's session and the session that GCT is conducting for the yesterday, today, and for maybe one more day. The whole purpose behind it is, what is the purpose of a traditional Indian cuisine, or how has a traditional cuisine been different from what people thought of it to be? You know, how differently has it affected the lifestyle of people? Now, if you look at this one platter, this banana leaf there with rice, and you see each item is numbered, including the water, the glass of water, 16th item out there. This is the basic structure of a traditional household Indian meal, where we all sit on the floor and probably have our meal. Across North and various states, we have a cultural difference, but then the basic ingredients remain the same. Now, if you look at this particular leaf or this plantain leaf where food is served, and when we sit down and have this meal, just think about the ingredients, the first 4 ingredients that I was speaking about. Number 1, pepper. It's an integral part of this. Number 2, cardamom, definitely an integral part of this. Cinnamon is going to be a part of various dishes that we are making, and clove has a vital part to play in most of the dishes across. Now today, when I talk about this platter or this banana leaf serving with 16 dishes which are marked across, if you look at the next slide which I'm putting up, look at that. Between Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Andhra itself, the platter varies. See, typically, Tamil Nadu has got so many side dishes, as you can see here, so many side dishes. And I think the common factor probably is the papad and the rice, and the rest of it is all a lot of variations. If you look at the Kerala thing, you will find this banana chips, which is an integral part of a Kerala thing. And if you look at Andhra, you have more of slightly spicier stuff which you find there. But then the overall underlying nature of the culture is almost similar. And that is what unites us, you know. So it's such a beautiful thing to see all 3 platters in one place. Probably there are variations culture to culture. And we go further north, we go to Gujarat, Bengal and other places, we find various different platters with much more dishes that come in. Now, when these things are around us, probably we Indians took a leap to go and, you know, imbibe the Western culture, and we got into pizzas and burgers and, you know, KFC chicken and things like that. And, you know, probably we lost a bit of our traditional touch out there by trying to become more and more modernized. Probably COVID has become a very good reason for us to rethink and come back and reconnect with the roots from where we began. Our grandparents probably had a better way of living than we had. Probably the affordability was better for us. Economically, we had grown, we were able to afford costlier food, but then little did we realize that we were getting into something that's dangerous for our own living. Probably today I find many people telling we feel much better at health, we are happier eating at home. We're not looking forward for going into a restaurant. Probably going to a restaurant and all that has become a good memory of the past. And even if somebody offers you to come, I'll get you a meal or a treat in a restaurant, probably none of us want to go today. I mean, we would like to stay back in the safety of our homes or in the safety of our trusted sources rather than go out and eat. And today, with that in mind, let us look at how this traditional touch, you know, this traditional touch, which the whole topic is about, the traditional touch about all these things about our life and the food habits around us. Now, as we go through, I'm first going to touch on cardamom, because cardamom is one of my favorite products. I was handling about 1,800 acres of cardamom property. We were producing about 40,000 tons per year, and it was exported to various countries apart from Indian consumption. Now, the benefits of cardamom, as you can see, I mean, various benefits. They say it cures cold and cough. It's good for digestion, detoxification, removes cavities, blood pressure. I mean, it's good for diabetes and etc., etc., etc. You can go on counting. I mean, even more and more benefits. Now, one personal experience I had is this good for cold. It cures cold and cough, you know, because where cardamom is grown, I will show you the pictures of the plantation which is coming down. As we grow cardamom, it's actually grown in a high elevation area on the slopes of hills where rainfall is very heavy, because cardamom requires sufficient moisture. Now, it's an area which is prone to cold and cough. Now, I used to stock up my cardamom in one particular room which was moisture proof, and we used to hold about 8 to 10 tons at any given point of time inside that room. Now, whenever I had a cold, I used to get into that room, close the door and stay there for about 10 minutes. Your eyes will start watering, your nose will stop running. You know, that very aroma, that pungency of cardamom would actually become a cure. So actually we wouldn't require any medicine for a cure from cold. I mean, it's so beautifully discovered by people who were with us. But right now, India has become a country that exports most of its premium cardamom. It is not available for consumption in India. There's something called the 8mm bold cardamom, or the parrot green bold cardamom, which is not available in India because it fetches a higher price once it is exported. So it's exploited commercially. And even the produce that I had in that plantation, out of a production of 40,000 tons, almost 10% would be 8mm bold, which is about 4 tons. And that 4 tons are actually taken entirely by Japan. And Japan doesn't use cardamom as it is. They convert it into an essence, and then they use it into their cuisines. Because in Japanese cuisine, cardamom forms a very integral part. Right now in India, we are actually losing the benefit of it. I mean, to share a few details with you, see, this is the cardamom plantation picture. The plant of cardamom, you can see all the pods here, and you know, the crop of cardamom here. It's a highly susceptible plant which is prone to thrips and borer. These are the 2 main pests of cardamom. And hence, what happens, people take to a lot of pesticides that are sprayed on it to in fact keep the plants healthy, as you can see on the right side, and to get the boldness of the pod, as you can see in the inserted picture. Now, when you start spraying pesticides, what happens is the very essence and nature of cardamom is lost. Now, when that is lost, what happens? See, the flower and the pod. I've given the picture of the flower here. You can see the cardamom flower. It's such a beautiful thing. Many of you might have seen it. But this cardamom flower, right from the time that the flower opens from the bud, determines the quality of cardamom. So even when we spray a chemical onto it, if the chemical has direct access onto the petal of the flower, it can actually affect the size of the pod and the quality of the pod. Even the weight with the number of seeds inside gets affected based on how you treat this flower. You know, it's so sensitive to a plant. And a well-treated plant will look like the one that you see on the right side with sufficient crop. And, you know, in 1 acre, you can produce something like about 400 kilos of cured cardamom, of dry cardamom per acre. That's what it is. And all this cardamom that you see here is of very fine quality because it has no pests or diseases, as you can see is evident from the picture there. This is the way it needs to be maintained, but it is a highly susceptible plant. Now, if you look at the next slide, see here, so many advantages of cardamom have been given. Helps to prevent, you know, colorectal cancer, inhibits growth. I mean, you can just read through that slide. I know there are too many there. But the main part is you need to see the dietary fiber, the nutrient content of cardamom. This is what today, since we're talking about traditional food, I mean, why did our ancestors actually use this kind of a spice very often is, see the mixture. Today, any doctor that you go to or any, you know, nutritionist that you go to will advise you about your calories, your protein, your carbohydrate, and your dietary fiber. Now, cardamom takes care of all these in proportions more than sufficient than any other food product probably that you can imagine or name. Similarly, when you come to vitamins, it has vitamin C, thiamine, vitamin B6, and riboflavin. You know, riboflavin is actually very essential for the body to produce enzymes through the glands in our body. So,
excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sorry for the interruption, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you hide that one which is popping out?
Yeah. Sure. Thank you. It's interfering there, is it? Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. So now, and then when you come into the mineral composition, I mean, you will see manganese and magnesium. I mean, it is rich in manganese, iron, and magnesium and zinc. I mean, these are actually going to be the vital micronutrients which are required by the human body for a normal functioning. Now, various other things, I'm not going to list them down, but you can see them. You know, it helps in curing stomach disorders, and mostly it is used as a mouth freshener by a lot of people. When I used to be in the plantation, you know, if you want to freshen up your mouth, we don't go chew bubble gum. We actually pluck a few cardamom and then we chew it, and that's enough. I'm sure many of you might have tried that. And raw cardamom tastes very good when you pluck it out direct from the field. But the saddest part in today's exploitation in cardamom is, see, I showed you that pod, this green color pod or this outer shell. I want to expose one small secret to you. See, companies in India, lot of companies which manufacture masala or masala combinations that you buy as ready-made packets across, they want only the outer husk of cardamom. So I'm just sharing this with you because that's been my experience. They buy this outer husk at a cheaper price. They don't buy the seed or they don't buy cardamom pod as such. They just want the broken husk, and that husk is what they use in the masala to bring in the cardamom flavor, which means the real cardamom flavor, probably you will get it in very, very costly, authentic brands maybe, but the normal brands of masala that you find across does not use a full-fledged cardamom pod. So I want you to take that as a clue, whereas in a traditional cooking systems, cardamom used to form an integral part, and cardamom needs to be used in its full form because the seeds are embedded inside, and the seeds are the ones which give you the flavor or the essence. You know, it comes in from the inner seeds, and an 8 mm pod will produce something like 16 to 24 seeds within that, and that seed is the one which gives you the essence and the flavor. It's got the content which will actually give you all these benefits that are listed here. It is not the outer shell or the pod, but the masala making companies use only the outer shell, which does not even have 15% of the real content of what cardamom is supposed to have, but it is very good in its aroma. It's very good in its smell. And that's how the industry has been treating us today. Now, let me come to the next product, which is clove. And clove, as we all know, we extract clove oil from that. You must have all heard about it. It's good for the dental problems. And, you know, it helps your teeth and gums. And in many toothpaste, you will find it includes clove oil and all that. Probably you go to a dentist, the dentist will advise you to use a clove oil. Now, in a clove plantation, as you can see, I mean, this particular picture that I'm putting up across, you see the pods of clove in the left. I mean, this picture, the one on the left, this gives you the pods of clove there. As you can see, just mark it out in red. See, it's a cluster. It's kind of an inflorescence. And from the pods of clove, we pick up what you see here in the middle picture. This is what we pick out. It's at the ripe stage. When the color starts changing pinkish red, we pick it up. And this is dried, and what the dried clove is what you're seeing up here. Okay. Now, the problem with clove is a very good, well-harvested clove will only give the producer an outturn of around 17 to 18 to 19%. That is all the recovery rate that we can get, which means if I have about 100 kilos of green clove which is harvested, I will get about 19 to 20 kilos of dry clove. That is what it is. But then, if I can let it over mature, if I can let it mature a little more than this red color, what happens is my outturn increases because of the fiber content and the dry matter increase. So commercially, what happens in the market is the clove that you buy in the market will usually give an outturn of up to 25% just because it is allowed to become overripe. And when it overripens, what happens is it actually loses its quality. That's what I want to come into the previous slide. See, 1 teaspoon of clove should ideally contain 6 calories, 1 gram of carbohydrates proportional to weight, fiber about 1 gram, manganese about 55% of the DV daily value, and vitamin K about 2% of the DV. The moment you allow it to mature more so that you get better outturn, what happens? This entire thing drops. The values of the inherent nature of clove drops. And you know, it can only be used as a flavoring agent beyond that. It really doesn't give you the benefit. But our traditional cooking systems show us that, you know, clove was actually used in various food products that we cook. I mean, in fact, in some of the display of the food items that was going on before the session could start, you could identify a lot of items where clove was in use. And today, clove has become a rare commodity just because it is not easily available because it's very sensitive to climate. And our Indian tropical region is one of the very good regions to grow clove. So when we go back to your traditional food, let us look at this chart of, you know, the calories, the carbs, the fiber, the manganese, and the vitamins. So much that is there within the clove. And our Indian scenario or our Indian agricultural system quite well supports the generation of clove, but we don't have many takers to it just because of the consumption being very low quantity within India. Probably this sort of seminars that we are having or webinars that we are having can create further awareness, and every participant who's connected with this can probably, you know, educate people more on the benefits of clove. It is not just a dental benefit. It has actually got much more than that. And these carbs and fiber that you see, which I put in yellow, are the ones that will actually be enhancing the physical capacity of a man. I mean, in fact, today in the COVID season, they talk about immunity. Now, when we talk about increasing immunity, let's look at all the things that the body requires. Immunity is developed, I mean, when you intake sufficient protein, sufficient calories go in, sufficient fiber is there to enable digestion, and then the absorption in the body happens when you have, you know, spices like cardamom and clove as part of your daily cuisine. Now, I'm coming to the next product, which is black pepper. Black pepper is one of my favorite products because we used to produce something like almost 25,000 kilos every year. And it was interspaced with tea. I mean, just as Madam was introducing me, so we won the award for the world's best tea in Orthodox, or it's called the Golden Leaf Award from the Tea Board of India. When we won the award and when people came to inspect our tea fields just to see how we are maintained, they saw the pepper vines on every shade tree. And they said, this intercropping is actually adding a lot of value to that property. So pepper is just grown as an intercrop. But let me tell you, pepper is the one which adds so much value, and it is one of the crops that requires least attention. The only problem with pepper crop usually is, I will show you the picture of the pepper vine. I know most of you must have seen this, but in a plantation setup, it typically looks like the picture in the right side. The only attention it requires is some spraying of Bodo mixture occasionally for fungal relief. And number two, there are no growth stimulants that are sprayed. There are no pesticides that are sprayed. If at all, if the pepper vine is, prone to a disease, it's a disease called wilt, which is a fungal disease. And once a vine has been affected with wilt, you have to allow it to be pruned. And once it regrows with an immunity that it will never get wilt a second time. That's how we look and maintain the plantation. So, see, by nature itself, pepper has got its own built-in immunal character, where once it is affected, next time it will never be affected. The same thing is passed on by pepper into the daily use of products that we have. Now, if you look at it, it's called the king of spices. Pepper is called the king of spices. Now, it aids digestion, manages respiratory problems, it has anti-cancerous properties, it regulates BP and cholesterol. It's healthy for the brain, heart, and teeth. Look at that. People thought only clove was good for teeth. Actually, pepper is very good for your teeth. I mean, it helps manage skin ailments, and it's a blood purifier. Actually, pepper is a very inherent part of our dishes. Our Indian cooking itself demands a lot of pepper. But today, there is one thing that we need to understand. See, pepper is further processed, and you get something called white pepper in the market. White pepper is nothing but the outer skin of pepper being removed and the inner kernel being powdered and used as white pepper. That is selling at a much higher price. Probably white pepper has got more of the essential ingredients which actually support these characters. Black pepper with its outer skin is very good for our Indian kind of cooking. I mean, excellent supportive product, an excellent preservative product, and excellent healing capabilities that it has got. So when we get back to our traditional foods, let's look at pepper as an inherent part of our process, especially powdered pepper. It's supposed to produce a flavor which is far more relevant than pepper in its full form. The reason being, see, probably powdered pepper, the pungency of powdered pepper is much more. One reason we need to understand is we have done various experiments with pepper. One of the reasons why powdered pepper is more pungent and more, active than the solid pepper is, when you powder or break down a pepper pod, a small little pepper grain, when you break it, the contents within the kernel are getting oxidized with the atmospheric oxygen. That oxidation process actually brings up the quality of pepper. So pepper needs to be broken. You must have seen people, they stab this pepper with the leg. I mean, it's called the process of cleaning it up, and wherein you remove that center thread portion of pepper that you see here, it hangs like a pod here. I mean, this one, and they remove the center thread on which all the pods are stuck. Now, companies which produce masala buy only that center pod. They buy very low quantity of actual pepper, but they buy more of the center pod, which is actually a waste that is supposed to be thrown away. I used to destroy that waste, but then people used to come and pay a premium to buy that particular product because it is used by the masala industry. Now today, I want you to know we need to create an awareness for the commercialization of these beautiful products that God has blessed our country with. And the good part of it is totally getting exported, whereas the just the flavor part and just the smell or just the aroma is all that is coming into the local market. So it's a very sad thing to say. Probably we need to work a little more in that area to see that our local population is fed with something good. Today, post-COVID, I'm sure the awareness is increasing. I mean, things are going to change. Probably if you had been observing the market, the price of pepper has dropped from what it used to be 850 rupees. Today it is selling at 300 rupees per kilo. So, which means the demand is so less that people are actually not aware of its benefits. We need to make people aware of its benefits. See, if you look at it, look at this whole screen and see the benefits of pepper: kidney functions, liver functions, treats teeth and gum problems, cure vitiligo, I mean, acid levels it reduces, insect bites, it's very good. It relieves muscle pain, it's a blood purifier. You can read the whole gamut of things that black pepper can do in our day-to-day life. Probably we all use it in our kitchens. It's part of every household. But try and increase the use of pepper is one thing that I will say when we talk about traditional food, heritage, that we're trying to get back a lost heritage. Probably in days ago, many years back, pepper was more in use. Every house used to have a wine. If you go to a village, there used to be a pepper wine. At least one wine will be there, even in the small house. Today, it's become a commodity that's not grown by people, and there is not much demand. The price has dropped, so it's commercially not viable. Right now, we Indians can actually look back at the values of pepper and try to revive this whole product. So the producer is also benefited when there is a demand. And number two, it has so much of health benefits across. So every food, I mean, I showed that, the banana leaf where the lunch was served, Kerala, Andhra and Karnataka. In all those side dishes, pepper is an inherent part of it. And when pepper is an inherent part of it, we cannot replace it with something. And what happened is peppers become so modernized that it comes onto the dining table in those dispensers, salt and pepper dispensers, and it's become something of a seasoning agent sort of a thing. That is not it. It's got to be part of our meal. It's got to be part of the food that we prepare. When I was in the estates, there used to be one thing when we used to harvest this green pepper, when we used to harvest this green pods, this entire thing, my person who used to make food for me, he used to take this whole thing and make pickle out of it. And it used to be such beautiful pickle that he used to prepare that we used to cherish eating it. And it has so much health values. One of the doctors who visited me, he carried a bottle with him and he said, Saji, this has got so much of benefits which you cannot even explain in a paper that you can present. Because that is why pepper is probably called, the king of spices. It's the king of spices. So if you have it in a home and you have a habit of using pepper, increase the habit of using it. It's going to take care of so many issues that we have. And another thing I need to tell you today is, pepper, the major portion, I told you the masala companies buy the thread and go. You know who buys the major pepper? If you go to Cochin and look at the spices export part, major part of pepper is bought by the pharmaceutical industry. It is an ingredient in most of the tonics as well as pastes or ointments that you use, as well as into certain tablets which are used for digestive disorders, etc., etc., etc. Pepper is converted into a form of an essence or powder, and then it is used by the pharmaceutical industry. Now, if it is used by the pharmaceutical industry, I want to just put a caution here. That means, see, the same pepper, if it was in our food, you wouldn't require that medicine. Just because it is not in our food, the same pepper goes as another process and comes back to you as medicine because you've already got the problem which pepper could have taken care of. Your body is suffering, and then the same pepper comes back as a cure for you through the form of that medicine. That means today, an awareness needs to be created. Our traditional systems had so much of value in them that we need to really rediscover as to why earlier certain diseases had a cure. Earlier people, you would find a cure. Today, we are actually running behind hospitals. And post-COVID, since people cannot go to hospitals or people are scared of going to hospitals, they think of different methods. And that different methods is actually bringing us to a factor to look at topics like this to say, how can we reclaim our past? Reclaiming the past is in our hands. It is possible for us. Pepper is cultivated across, it grows so well, it doesn't require much rainfall, it can survive even in a small moisture. Anybody who's got a land probably in a tropical region can actually cultivate pepper, and the returns are so good except for the price drop in the last few years. How to improve that returns? It depends on the usage of pepper. So we need to educate the usage of pepper. So I'm talking about a double angle, problem. One is the health aspect of it. Number two is the commercial aspect of it. When more and more of us start using this, the value will be realized by people, which means you will actually push down the business of pharmaceutical companies. Probably they may not get enough of pepper to actually pass on as an ingredient into medicine because it is already formed a part of the meal that you're having day to day. And your body is going to respond to it, and all these problems that you're talking about, cholesterol, BP, brain, heart, teeth, skin, blood, everything is going to be taken care of. And that's why it is called the king of spices. And these are the benefits of black pepper. Let me come to this particular picture. I want you to carefully observe, this is nothing but green chili. You see this? This is a picture which I took on the estate. Okay, we have the Adivasi workers there, the tribal population who work there. This is one of the Adivasi people in my estate. They used to make a kind of a preparation from green chili with pepper. We may think green chili is already hot and pepper is going to add to the thing. No. See, they take a ripe, semi-ripe as well as green chili. They slice it out, and these are the pictures which I took when they were doing it there. They slice it out, and then you know what they do? They garnish it with pepper. You can see the garnish out there. You know, you see, if you look at it carefully, you can observe there will be parts of pepper which is powdered out, and that is mixed into chili with certain oil and other things. And this particular dish they use every day in that plantation along with their lunch. You know, during lunch, this is one of the side dishes that they use. And they explain to us, the Adivasis explain to us by saying that, sir, this, because we eat this every day, we do not have worms in our stomach, we do not have digestive disorders, and we do not have things like loose motion and others. You know, they're very immune to all these things. Their immunity levels are far higher than any of us can imagine. They can withstand heavy rain, they don't get cold and fever, they can walk with barefoot anywhere, they don't get affected even if they get hurt and the bleeding stops immediately. It's not like us. They don't sneeze and cough for each and every small wind and breeze. They're very well immune to this. So the secret of their immunity comes from traditional food systems like this. And pepper was a major part. And I have tasted this particular dish, which I found to be very, very good. Number 4 is cinnamon. Cinnamon, as you all know, in Tamil we call it patta, right? So we used to have these trees on the plantation. I'll show you the picture of it. See, this is how it looks like. The trees where we remove the bark that you're finding on the left. The bark is removed, and this is what we get as cinnamon in the open market. Even the leaves of cinnamon are actually used for processing certain food products, which the Adivasis actually do. That's why I put up this picture. Now, when you come to cinnamon, you're using the bark as well as we powder it and use it in powder form in our houses. Now, cinnamon powder again has similar properties like I told you about pepper powder. Cinnamon powder again oxidizes with the atmospheric oxygen the moment you powder it. The moment it oxidizes, cinnamon is a little rich in iron. So the moment it oxidizes, it forms a brownish color like rust. You must have seen that. If you leave cinnamon open for about a week, it will form a dark brown color. The dark brown color is because of the oxidation of the iron content with the atmospheric moisture. Now, when that happens, it actually increases the efficiency of cinnamon. The iron content of cinnamon increases the efficiency or the absorption of food by the body. So that's the function. Cinnamon is used as a seasoning agent. We use it in biryanis, we use it in various other dishes. But then cinnamon has one inherent nature where it enables better absorption of the nutrients by the body. I mean, that's how it works as a catalyst. Probably cinnamon is not used in huge quantities. We use it in smaller quantities, but it works as a catalyst in supporting absorption by the body. So it's a very vital, vital ingredient in most of our Indian dishes. Now see the benefits of cinnamon. It helps you to lose weight. It reduces inflammation, balances blood sugar, calcium, you know. It contains a good dose of calcium. Many people do not know this, that cinnamon contains calcium. It contains a very good dose of calcium. So especially for women, for your bone-related problems where more of calcium content is required, cinnamon is extremely good, and it is advised by traditional, you know, they say nattu marundu, no, that traditional medicine, they advise a lot of intake of cinnamon. Reduces bloating and IBS symptoms, natural infection healer, powerful antioxidant. It soothes the throat and cold, keeps your teeth and gums healthy apart from clove, and it also contains vitamins and minerals which are good for optimum health. Now, vitamins, minerals, we will leave it aside. All these contain vitamins and minerals. Now, this particular slide, I want you to concentrate on the leaf. Now, this particular leaf, probably we don't use it in a day-to-day activity. We only use the bark. That's why I put both in one screen. But the Adivasi people there, they pluck the leaf of cinnamon and they cook it along with their daily dishes. They make curries or side dishes. They involve cinnamon leaves into that. I'll show you one picture in the slide down. See, this has got cinnamon in it. This is fenugreek leaf which they are cooking in their village where I took the picture, and cinnamon is added to it. Cinnamon is added into it because the cinnamon leaf is added to it, not cinnamon powder. Cinnamon leaf is cut down, grated and added to this, and they add salt and they make a particular dish which is not very tasty, but actually it provides very good, you know, antibacterial effect and antioxidant function in their body. So I have seen these people, you know, even small children are fed with this. It is not tasty. Children probably don't take it. They don't like it. But the parents force feed the children with this particular combination of these leaves, and their children never fall sick. They never come to the hospital. They're quite healthy. They're immune. Now today we need to go back and learn from these people. And that's why I'm putting these things. When we're actually reinventing our history, why did our parents or why did our grandparents use more of this? And today, probably cinnamon is being exported in a big way. If you actually look at it, if cinnamon is consumed well with good knowledge in India, our production is not even enough for our own consumption. You will not have a scope for export because India itself will need more cinnamon than it can produce in a year. Because the population of India is actually the malnutrition, one of the factors of malnutrition that you find among the some people or some particular areas is because the absorption in the body of the intake of food itself is less, which means the body, the metabolic activity of the body is less. Cinnamon has got a character where the metabolic activity can be increased, and it also improves the absorption by the body. It's such a beautiful effect, medicinal effect, that cinnamon has got. Now, powdering of cinnamon also, this picture which I put is, I took it from that village again. The powdering of cinnamon is done using these traditional, stone earthenware, stone vessels kind of thing which they've made, which actually brings in that new flavor. I told you about oxidation earlier. Oxidation with atmospheric moisture and this powdering together creates a unique combination. Probably when we powder at home, we don't get that, or if it's powdered in a machine, you don't get that. When it's actually ground by hand, cinnamon gives you a different flavor which will never come in a commercial powdering done in a machine. So these are the things that we see, and fenugreek and cinnamon combination, which I was telling you a little earlier, this is used by the traditional people. See, if you see that the leaf of cinnamon is also included, it's not very clearly visible, but then they're mixed with fenugreek leaf and they add salt and they semi-cook it and eat it. I mean, this is one of the traditional food items that I have tasted, I have seen, so I'm presenting it to you. Something very unique, something very different. And I've learned all these from the Adivasi people who used to be workers in the plantation, working for us in our fields. So such a beautiful learning process from there. Now, the next few things, see, they used to make this parota. That's what I'm showing you here. And this particular parota, the green leaves that you see are not any other leaf. It is actually cardamom leaf that they put in, and they take pepper and add its leaf, and their pepper powder is also added into it. This particular parota, they have added so many of cardamom leaf. Usually we may think cardamom leaf is of no use. We never use it for anything. It becomes a mulch in the field. That is what it eventually does. But these people, they add cardamom leaf into their parota. You can see how it is being prepared. And they make sure that the content or percentage of that leaf is very high in each of the parota. And it's got pepper seasoning. And that is the parota that they eat. Probably in a very cold weather, they use this because they say this is very rich in calories. And it helps maintain their body temperature irrespective of the hard work that they have to do. I mean, that's one secret that I've learned from them, and probably we are trying to practice that at home as well. Cardamom leaf is something which doesn't have much value. Now, pepper also, they add the pepper leaf sometimes, which is actually very good, provided it is available. It is not available to everybody. Now, this is one secret that I've learned from them. Number two, you look at this, it's a complete meal. When you look at when I say a complete meal, this is a food prepared by Adivasi. You can see here the chili dish which I spoke about, where pepper was garnished and sent into it. This is that particular chili dish. This is about curd being seasoned with a little bit of cardamom seed powdered. The powdered cardamom seed is used in curd and they flavor it with cardamom. And here you can find a particular dish that they have made using clove and few other products and some vegetables, etc., which they use as a curry, something like a dal curry, which they use, but seasoned with clove and other things. And this roti is the roti that we saw before, which has got leaves of cardamom and leaves of pepper inside that seasoning. So see, this is such a complete meal. If you probably look at this one plate, it actually covers all the vitamins, all the carbohydrate, fiber requirement, protein requirement. It actually takes care of a big gamut of requirement that we require in day-to-day life. So probably when we go back, I just want to go back in that slides and get back to the 4 products. Cinnamon, let us make it a part of our day-to-day cuisine, even in our houses. It's got such great potential. Let's go back to pepper. And with all these, the qualities of pepper that we were speaking about, let us see how best we can make it a part of our own cuisine at home. And I mean, probably those wives who are watching, who are handling cooking, please ensure that you use more pepper in your day-to-day cooking from now, because these are the benefits of pepper, and a traditional cooking system warrants pepper. And then when we go back to clove, these qualities of clove needs to be educated, because there is even the Spices Board is trying to do its best, but then they're not able to reach out in a large way. I think today's platform of people who are like-minded, people who are in the academic industry doing research about various agricultural products and biotechnology, I want you to take this personally forward, because this can create a great livelihood means for people who are looking at agriculture as their background, and people actually can look at generating business. Because one thing that I want to highlight is, whenever I do a presentation today for corporate companies, one statement that I use in my presentation is, what used to work before doesn't work anymore. What used to work doesn't work anymore. And that is the reality. I mean, even in our own life, though suddenly you like to travel abroad, it doesn't work anymore. You want to go to the restaurant and have a meal, it just doesn't work anymore. You probably love to have a classroom session. It doesn't work anymore till a few more months. Now, what used to work doesn't work. The same thing is applying to this food. Probably the youngsters or the modern generation, as we call, were used to food such as pizzas and burgers and all these fast food joints. Probably this is the greatest opportunity we have to teach them that that doesn't work anymore. Because though it may be available, we can actually restrict the use of such products and introduce them to these kind of foods. I mean, if you look at it commercially, if you look at companies like Swiggy, which were once in a time very successful, Swiggy became very successful. And, food delivery business was, I mean, people used to call that as a disruptive business because it was growing like anything. A lot of people were employed, and you used to find on the roads orange t-shirts everywhere in traffic junctions, Swiggy people running up and down, and it was a glorious business. And many people were thinking, what a beautiful business model. Now, post-COVID, if you look at it, Swiggy's business has just fallen down. Today, they're trying to sell even vegetables and liquor somehow to survive. People are losing job from Swiggy, and the company is unable to sustain itself. Now, today, I want you to take that example of the non-sustenance of Swiggy business to be the opportunity for us to hand over and take over the traditional food systems in our own houses, in our own kitchens. You need not wait. I mean, I know it's a fast life. I know it's a life where we have no time. We are busy. Probably this is a beautiful opportunity for us to relook, relearn, and come back. So what used to work before doesn't work anymore. That means we have to go back to clove and pepper and cardamom. Now, the benefits of cardamom, which we saw, I want us to rethink about the use of cardamom, because cardamom husk alone, which is coming into the Indian market. Look at the masala industry, the packaged food industry. I mean, even though there are regulations from the Food and Safety Organization across the country, we need to educate people a little more so that they're aware of what they're using. A cardamom needs to be used fully at home, not from a ready-made masala packet. And when we use cardamom fully, when we use pepper in its natural form, and we use clove and cinnamon in its natural form, I think your family benefits more, you benefit more, your health conditions improve, and you don't run after medicines finally where all these 4 products are found. End of the day, the pharmacy industry is buying cardamom in a big way. They're buying pepper in a big way. They're buying cinnamon in a big way. They're also buying clove in a big way. Clove mostly for dental industry. But then clove oil has become a rare commodity now. And the cost of it has gone up like anything because of the availability being less. But we need to start using these products into our traditional food which we eat at home. You're making a chapati, you're making a roti, just add, some pepper, some cardamom and some cloves and powdered cloves and things like that into the various dishes that you handle every day at home. And that's going to make a big difference to the society, because we say people are losing employment, people do not have money, businesses are unable to come by. It's agriculture which has actually got to sustain this whole country. If you look around us, there are no experts. Financial experts do not know what to do. I mean, legal experts do not know what to do. Medical experts do not know what to do. Nobody has an answer. But there is an answer in traditional food. And that's what is the driving point today. Traditional food has got an answer. Even there is an answer for COVID in that. Probably none of us have identified it. But then, with the little knowledge that we have about the various value additions of these products. And today, even though I'm just handling these 4 products alone, I would like to encourage each one of you attending this platform today that this is in our kitchen, or we can make it available in our kitchen, and we can start making the difference for the development of this country from our own homes in our kitchens. It can start from there. What is the role that we would like to play in encouraging a new healthy system to come forward? I mean, I really appreciate that this sort of a platform was formed by the Biotechnology Department of Government College of Technology. And the thought of going back to traditional food, it's not just a trend. Many people are doing it as a trend, as I told you earlier about this YouTube trend of traditional foods, because people have lost sight of what it is. But it is actually needs to come back as a reason for a better living, for a healthier living. Today, people say we are sitting at home and, we are finding it stressful. I mean, de-stressing factors is a part of a lot of these products that we saw today. I mean, it can help control stress. It can help control depression. It can actually improve the utilization of enzymes within the body, which gives you a more positive spirit, a more motivated spirit, makes you a better person, makes you a better citizen, makes you a healthy person. It makes life better. Now, today, I want to share with you one of the experiences that I had in the plantations, walking through the cardamom fields day and night when we actually moved through our plantations, where I had pepper, where I had cardamom, cinnamon, and clove. Now, cinnamon and clove is a seasonal product, whereas cardamom is almost 8 months in a year, and pepper is almost 4 months in a year we harvest pepper. So cardamom being 8-month product where we continuously pick cardamom, I used to spend every night or the evening time in the cardamom dryer unit where cardamom is dried. It goes for an 18-hour drying process wherein you get the beautiful color, etc. So when I used to spend my time in the cardamom dryer area in the nights, during that season, rainy season, there is not a single worker of the estate that will get a cold or a fever, whoever works in the dryer area, including me who used to be there. One of the learning points for me has been exposure to cardamom. Even if you can take 1 pod of cardamom and chew it in every day, that's going to give you such tremendous immunity that you will actually be escaped from all this fever and cold. Today, if you have a small fever and cold, we are scared to even say we have fever because we do not know how they will diagnose it. So 1 cardamom pod a day is going to be your cure. You need not see any doctor, you need not see anybody. This will actually give you the immunity against even the slightest of cold and fever, and it will keep you going. Another big thing that I've seen is, this green cardamom. I want you to look at the green color of cardamom. I think I put it in the first screen. Can you see the top thing, the green color of cardamom here? See, in the market, when you buy cardamom, please look for green color cardamom, but be very careful when you look for green color cardamom. One of the secrets I need to tell you is, see, this particular green, this is what I wanted to show you. This particular green, it's called the parrot green, this particular green area. Usually when you buy cardamom in the market, it will be brownish color. It will not be green. You know why that brownish color is? They apply caustic soda. They mix, actually green cardamom is washed in caustic soda before drying in the dryer. The reason being, caustic soda has a property of making it appear more greener. But the problem with caustic soda is that green color will last only for 3 months. After the 3rd month, it becomes brownish. So most of the cardamom you buy in packets in a shop, if it is brown in color, don't even touch it. Because caustic soda, how terrible a chemical that is, it can actually burn your intestine. That is the nature in which the industry is running. So look for green cardamom, but you cannot identify it just by appearance. You need to be careful about the source from which you buy it. If you ask me, sir, how can we identify the perfect green cardamom and the caustic soda wash one? You cannot identify because both will look similar, not even smell will vary. But the thing is, just in order, because the green color cardamom fetches a higher price, people are using caustic soda to wash it, and I'm openly sharing it in a public platform because I want people to be aware of it, that industries are doing this and we need to kill that practice. Caustic soda, workers take it and wash it, and the ones who wash it, even their hands, get affected, their fingers get affected, their skin is affected handling caustic soda. But this cardamom, I will tell you why they do it. See, if the green color is the color you see on the screen now, it fetches something like 1,800 to 1,700 to 1,800 rupees a kilo. If the green color is say 5% less, probably the green color is like this that you see on this screen here. This green is much lesser. If you look at this green color, this same cardamom, same quality, the lesser green color will fetch them only 1,400 rupees. There is an immediate drop of 300 to 400 rupees just on the color. So in order to get that gain of 400 rupees a kilo, people wash it with caustic soda because caustic soda costs nothing. Very negligible cost. Now, this is how people are running the industry. Now, today, when we talk about traditional food, I want you to be aware of what the industry is doing. Now, this picture on the right side, I didn't explain about clove. This is a clove nursery. Sorry, probably biotechnology and R&D students, you are aware of it. In the clove nursery, we make sure we choose a particular variety of clove which is available today that does not let this excess fiber maturity to happen, and the pods will drop even before excess maturity. So harvesting can be done on time. Only thing outturn will be 18 to 19%. So this is one of the reasons why clove developed in the nursery through technical inputs from tissue culture and biotech R&D related latest technologies can be utilized to improve the area under clove cultivation and consistency of the product. Now, black pepper is another area where we grow black pepper in the nursery. There is a variety called Pannur 1, which is actually supposed to be the best, which is drought resistant, fungal resistant, and it is actually immune to a lot of diseases. So probably if you can buy pepper from that will be good. In the shop, one thing that you can do is when you buy pepper, the only thing you can check is the density of pepper. You just hold it in your hand. If you feel it heavy enough, fine. If it is light, don't touch that pepper because a quality pepper will always be denser and you'll be able to feel the weight in your hand. A denser pepper means that it is cultivated well, it has been harvested at the right time after maturity. The other kind of pepper which you're finding very light is artificially ripened pepper, which is harvested before its due time, but then they artificially spray certain chemicals and hormones into it, which actually creates a difference and doesn't give you the benefits which pepper normally would give. So these are certain tips which I would like to leave behind with you, and I would like you to encourage you even at home, try these Adivasi things. These are very simple dishes. Take chili, add some pepper, garnish it with whatever you want. It's going to give you immunity like never before. Probably chili is something that we never eat. We throw it away. But today, I've learned it the hard way. I've learned it from the traditional people that they eat this chili and they have better immunity. And I used to ask myself a question. Probably we live in better facilities. Probably we are well looked after. We have medical facilities, so we take it for granted. They don't have medical facilities, so their food is their medicine. Now today, traditional food is medicine for us. And we need to get back to that traditional food because it gives us that medicinal input which our body needs. And God has provided that around us. Probably this education that we have, probably academic institutions, laboratories, the subject knowledge that you all have can be actually utilized in a much more effective manner, where our country will have a paradigm shift in looking at its traditional food back again. And these sort of platforms are actually initiating that whole thing. And I'm so glad that I'm able to speak in a platform like this and share my concerns with you. More than the benefits of the food, it is that we have the golden opportunity in us. And we are talking about make in India, right? And we have the opportunity to make in India. We need not look at the globe for our remedies or our rescue operations or our, remedies from the diseases that are going on around us. If you find increasing diseases in our country, increasing rates of, people being admitted in the hospitals with various ailments, it is just because we have deviated from our traditional food system. That is the simple answer. And no doctor can give you an answer to that because the doctor is doing a post-mortem after the problem has come. Now, before we reach to the doctor, we need to see how our food can take care of that. Like, the English proverb, it says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. We need to say traditional food and spices keeps the doctor away. And we need to get back. Let's keep the doctor away. The doctor is there in our plate. The doctor is there in our kitchen. And we just need to use it and say, yes, we're going to use it very sensibly. And we're going to go through all these systems which they are using. Let us reinvent. Let us get back to the traditional system and let us make our lives healthier, more immune, ready to combat this COVID and come out of it successfully. And I'm sure with this, let us strive to keep the tradition and its purpose alive. Because there is this hidden treasure. See what beautiful green color that cardamom is, at the background. I love that color. And don't get deceived by the color when you see it in the market. Be very, very careful. So let us strive to keep the tradition and its purpose, which means today, it's more than the product of pepper or cardamom or clove. I am driving home the point about the purpose of these products to you. It needs to be an essential part of our cuisine every day. And the whole purpose is better immunity, better life, healthier living, lesser medicines, less attention to the doctors. And your Indian, culture itself permits, Indian traditional food itself permits a healthier living, which we are losing today and trying to find, shelter under various other methods of cure and other things like that, So let us get back to this. Let us take this hidden treasure and let us say we want to be a blessing and be a blessing to the generation to come, that the next generation will be blessed through what we try to do. That means if the previous generation lost it and our generation totally lost it, let us take the initiative to hold back on the reins of what we lost, get back to what we do not have, and then say, yes, we are taking it forward. We are going to have a different system. Let's start it from our own houses. I'm sure you'll be able to educate your children, you'll be able to educate your relatives, and let us spread the word around and let this platform be one that will make it happen. With this, I would like to thank you all for this beautiful opportunity of sharing about the values of spices with you. And I'm open to any questions that you may ask. With this, I would like to stop my presentation and I'll keep the session open. Over to you, Anu. If there's any questions, I'm ready to answer. So I will stop my sharing with this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we have some questions in chat box.
Oh, it's there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll just close this and I'll have a look at that. 1 second. Great. Okay. Mr. Ponnu Murugan, interesting. No. Can you just, Anu, could you just read out something to me?
Yes, sir. Is there any side effect if we take overdose of all spices? That is
yes. If you take an overdose of spices, definitely there will be a side effect. Example, pepper. We cannot even take an overdose because of its very hot, pungent nature. Cardamom, if you take an overdose, you will have a running stomach. I mean, cardamom, you cannot consume beyond a particular limit. And cinnamon, definitely you cannot take. I mean, you yourself know cinnamon, you can't even, I mean, you wouldn't even be able to eat the required quantity because of its taste. But in mixed with other products, you can actually eat in a much more quantity, but keep it to a limited quantity. Don't overuse spices at all. Overuse definitely has a side effect. It will affect the normal functioning of the body. Because as I told you, if you remember, I told you in 2 places. One is the powdering of clove, another one is the powdering of pepper. I said it interacts with the atmospheric moisture and it produces rust, which is a brownish color component, which is good for body absorption. Now, if your body absorbs more than what it needs, it is a problem. There is a level to which is there in our own cooking. That level will be maintained, and we personally will understand it when we do our own cooking. So don't go for more than what you need. Thank you for that question. Other question, Anu? Any other questions?
Yes, sir, we have.
Yes.
Whether these spice plants are implantable in home gardening?
Whether these spice plants are?
Implantable. That is, they're asking whether we can grow these plants in our home. That is
Yes. To the best of my knowledge, you can definitely grow pepper in your house. In cities like Coimbatore, Bangalore, Chennai, we can grow pepper. Cardamom, you cannot grow. It will not grow at temperatures. Temperatures above 21 to 24 degrees, cardamom will not survive. So no point trying cardamom as a potted plant. I have tried in my house, it doesn't grow because it requires a microclimate. Probably if you're having a greenhouse, you can try cardamom, but that requires a lot more infrastructure. Pepper, you can definitely grow in your house. Cinnamon will not grow everywhere. It only grows in certain tropic climates, and it needs a little high elevation as well. And clove usually grows everywhere, but when you come to the very sea level plains, the quality of clove or the yield of clove drops very much. So clove is again not advisable. The only product that is advisable to grow at home, I will say, is pepper, and it will definitely give you a yield once in a year. At least for your household consumption, you will get, or your rooftop terrace can be converted into a nice thing. Only thing, you have to take care of it very personally. And I can advise you, if anybody wants any tips on how it can be done, it's a very easy product to handle, and it gives beautiful shelter, and you can have a lovely greenery on top. It doesn't require much maintenance. Thank you for that question.
Yes. So we have another question.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Not related to the subject,
Mr.
but
Govind
related to Govindaswamy.
Yes, Mr. Govindaswamy, good afternoon.
Yes, but related to your presentation,
What happened?
How did you develop such a buoyancy in your presentation? What is the secret behind it?
Maybe I've been eating a lot of pepper and cardamom. That may be No, that's not it. That's on the lighter vein. But the fluency of presentation is nothing but the experience with these products that I've had for many years. My tea experience is for about 24 years. Cardamom and pepper, my experience maybe about 8 to 9 years. It's just that the experience with the product, because of which my thought process flows continuously, so I'm able to speak without an interruption. Thank you for that compliment. At the same time, thank you for that question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. We have another question.
Yes.
What are the spices that can be eaten by patients undergoing dialysis? And same, it is asked for heart patients too.
Yes. Heart patients, very good. Cardamom is extremely good for heart patients. Cardamom and clove. These two, clove and cardamom, you must have seen in that listing which I put up also. Clove and cardamom are very, very good for heart patients. And if you're looking at kidney patients, for kidney patients, one thing that is proven is pepper is very, very good for kidney patients. Now, this is something which is not known, or not medical journals don't speak about it, but pepper, usually, see, one rare thing that we do not know is there is an essence extracted from pepper also. It is a kind of an oil which is available in very small percentages. This particular oil is very good for kidney patients and people who are treated for kidney ailments. In the medicines that they intake, this pepper oil is a part of it. Probably if you look at the container or the bottle, it will not say pepper oil, it will say essential oils. One of the oils is pepper extract. So that pepper extract is very good for kidney patients. And number two, madam, you asked heart and what else? One more thing you asked, no? What was the other one?
Yes, sir. It is dialysis.
That's the kidney thing. Yeah. Okay. So for kidney patients, you have to go for this pepper, which is very, very good. Dialysis patients, try to give them more of pepper, but then balance it out, because it should not become too hot that it shouldn't affect their system also. So you have to balance it out, breakfast, lunch and dinner, balance out the proportionate quantity of pepper, but make sure they have pepper in all the three as ingredients, whether it's breakfast, lunch and dinner. Especially dialysis patients, extremely good for them. Or another thing I will tell you is pepper leaf. If you can source fresh pepper leaf from somewhere, just put it in your mixie, just grind it up, boil water, and if they can drink that water, dialysis patients, it's extremely good for them. There is no proven scientific evidence, but it is something which people are doing. The Adivasi people are doing it, and I've seen that. So I cannot authenticate it with any book or paper, but then this is something which they are practicing, and I've seen it personally that they are doing all right. That's why I'm able to say that.
Yes, sir. I think the questions in the chat box are over.
Okay.
Is anybody willing to ask?
Yeah, you can ask me directly if you want to ask me some questions. And
Sir, I'm Rajshekhar, Biotechnology Department, Government College of Technology, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good evening, sir.
How are you, sir? Rajshekhar, nice to see you.
I would like to thank first Anu madam and Madhuvanti madam for bringing you here, sir, to all the participants.
Thank you, sir. It's
with our family, we are listening to you all this time, sir.
Okay.
Including my son.
Oh, very good, very good. God bless your family.
I would like to curse the COVID for exposing myself to all the Indians.
Yes. In fact, sir, I tell many people, I'm picking up from your statement, I tell many people, COVID...
I owe a hearty thanks to Anu madam and Madhuvanti madam for bringing Saji sir to the participants.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I tell many people...
A big meal has a sweet at the end. You are the sweet, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks
Sir, COVID
lot,
is an opportunity. COVID is an opportunity. I want you to take COVID as an opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Don't look at COVID as a problem. Everybody connected here. I think there are 130 people or something connected. COVID is, take it positively as an opportunity. All my brothers and sisters connected, I'm telling you, this is the most beautiful opportunity that God has gifted us to bring changes in the lifestyle that we were forced.
I can see in the chat box, all the participants are very much happy, sir. They want your number. They want to connect with you. There's a lot of, I wanted to express like anything, but
Okay.
I leave it to the organizer
I will do one thing, sir. I will give my mail ID in the chat box. Everybody can respond. It will be the best thing to do.
Yes.
I'm just giving my mail ID. You can note it
Thanks,
down.
madam. Thanks, Madhuvanti ma'am.
That's my mail ID. You got it.
Thank you.
Okay. Saji.Abraham. Just remember there is a dot between Saji and Abraham. If you miss the dot, it goes to somebody else. So Saji.Abraham@yahoo.com. That's my mail ID. Anybody having queries or doubts, if I can be of any help to you, I'll only be too happy to respond to your queries.
Sir, we have a question in the chat box. It is from Manish Sambal.
Okay.
I have a small cardamom plant in Dehradun, but no cardamom till now, and the plant is around 3 years old. Will it bear fruits? This is the question, sir.
Sir, cardamom plant, you have two phases in a cardamom plant. One is a vegetative phase and another one is a reproductive phase. As you know, with any product, if you want fruits in a cardamom plant, sir, can you come online? Can you speak to us so that I can clarify some things with you? The position in which you place the plant matters. Sir, can you speak to me, please? Are you there?
Manish Sambal.
Sir,
Manish,
yes,
sir, are you there? Yes,
I'm Manish, sir. Good evening.
Mr. Manish,
I'm from
where have you placed this cardamom plant in your house? What is the location, position? What kind of position is that?
It's on the ground. It's not in the pot. It's in the ground.
Okay. Does it get direct sunlight every day?
Not too much. Not too much.
See,
because under the shade, under the tree, slightly under the tree.
If it is under too much shade, it will not produce fruits. So make sure it is under filtered shade. It should be 40% shade only for cardamom. Okay. Fine. And you need to water it every day. Every day you need to water it. Are you doing it every day?
Not every day. Not every day. Because
if you let the root zone of cardamom go dry, it will arrest the yielding function totally. So what I will suggest is, if you can get a fresh cardamom plant, you do that. Remove this plant and destroy it. If you cannot get a fresh plant, if you don't have, do you have access to fresh plants? Are you able to collect any fresh plants? Is it possible?
Yes, yes, we are getting plants here also, but
Okay.
I've got this, I think cinnamon also, or this one I got.
Yeah, cinnamon is much easier to maintain. So cardamom,
Yes.
the difficulty is
Very
if you
good.
have fresh plants, you remove this existing
Uh,
plant from the pot, you put in
Yes,
a
sir.
fresh plant, and when you're planting cardamom in the fresh pot, make sure you mix the soil with, say sand. Can you just note it down? I'll tell you straight away. 20% should be
What's,
sand.
how much, sir?
20% by weight. I'm telling by weight. 20% by
20
weight should be sand, a
sand.
normal river sand or any sand you get.
Yes, sir.
And 60% is regular soil, whichever is available in your area.
Fine, sir.
And please check the pH of that soil. It should be between 4.5 to 5.7.
4.5 to 5.
5.7. Yeah, that is one problem with cardamom. You need to correct your pH. In case your pH is too high or too low, you can use aluminum sulfate. You can use aluminum sulfate to get that corrected in proportion to the weight of your soil.
Right, sir. And and 20% would be manual, like normal compost and all.
No. See,
It's 20,
sand
60.
is 20% and 60% is your soil. So that makes it 80%. Another
Yes,
10%
yes, 20.
is regular charcoal, wood. You should burn some
Wood.
material that is around the trees in your house and you make charcoal out of it and mix it into that soil.
Sir, sir.
Okay, and the last 10% by volume, not by weight, will be
Yes.
the coconut husk. Coconut husk.
Yes, yes, coconut husk.
The coir of the coconut, that should be mixed into that because that is a moisture retention thing which is required by the
Right.
soil in a cardamom cultivation.
Right, sir.
So
Right, sir.
if you can make this combination and replant cardamom, you see within 18 months, 18 months from the date of your planting, within 18 months it will start yielding.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Okay, and what you can
Right,
do, sir, is you note my mail ID. In case after 6
Yes,
months, just give me an update with
Yes.
a picture of the plant, and I will keep helping you.
I'll give the picture of this one also, what I've got right now.
Okay,
and then
great.
that also I plant.
Okay, sir, definitely will help you. Thank you for your question.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, there is one more question. Is there
Yes,
any
ma'am.
difference between the small variety of green cardamoms and large brown cardamoms?
I didn't get you, ma'am. Small variety of green cardamom and
Is there any difference between the small variety of green cardamoms and larger brown cardamoms?
sir, in the industry there is nothing called brown cardamom. I mean, are you talking about the blackish cardamom or are you talking about cardamom which is brown in color in the market?
Namita has posted this.
Is Anita online? Because the market, if you're talking about the cardamom you're buying in the shop, I told you caustic soda effect, no? The caustic soda effect will make the cardamom brown. So if you're talking about the brown one you brought in the shop, just throw it away, don't even use it.
Sir, I'm
What is
talking
your
about the, yeah, hello, this is Namita, sir.
Yes, Namita, can you tell me which brown are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about the larger sized brown cardamoms that we get in the market, sir.
Yeah, the largest size brown cardamom that you're buying in the market, isn't it? That's the one
Yes,
you mean,
yes.
no?
Yes, yes, sir.
Madam, those are outdated stock which is actually depleted of its quality because of your soda bicarbonate or your caustic soda. Okay, so
Okay, sir.
don't buy that. If at all you bought it so many years by mistake, reject it. If you have something at home, don't even use it anymore. Just throw it away because it's bad for your intestine. It's got that chemical contaminant. That's why the color has become brown. A genuine cardamom, which is processed well, will always retain its green color even if it is 3 years old. If it's more than 3 years old only, it will start fading.
No,
Up
sir,
to
I was a
3 years,
little confused. Yes, sir. Actually, I was a little confused because they even differ in the sizes. The green ones are slightly smaller and the brown ones are
Madam,
bigger ones.
no. See, the size of cardamom you can note down for the information of everybody. There are only 3 or 4 predominant sizes in the market. Bold one is called 8 mm. Okay, 8 mm or bold. That's the size number 1, the premium. The next is 7 mm or semi-bold. 7 mm or semi-bold. The third one is called 6 mm or bulk. It's called as bulk.
Okay.
6 mm bulk, 7 mm semi-bold, and 8 mm is bold. Okay, so these are the 3 major graded categories of cardamom. Now, below 6 mm, you have something which is below 6 mm, which is nothing but cardamom, which cannot be graded, and they are too small, and they goes into the secondary market. It goes into the market which makes these masalas, and it is not useful at all. Always buy cardamom, either minimum buy 6 mm or 7 mm, the cost will go up. See, 6 mm will cost you, today's market, it will cost you 1,000 plus rupees. 7 mm will cost you 1,005. 8 mm must be touching 2,000 rupees because probably it's very rarely available in Indian market, 8 mm. So, And don't buy this brown. Somebody trying to sell you telling brown is big size and all. There is no thing
Yes.
called brown cardamom in the market. In Guatemala, there is a cardamom which is blackish brown in color that does not come into India. It is not good cardamom also. It is only appearing brown in color. That is in a country called Guatemala, and it is consumed in that country. No exporting country permits export of that because that is not good. It doesn't have the real character of the other cardamom. It's an ornamental kind of a cardamom. It is not a spicy cardamom.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so
what
much.
you buy in India, off the shelf, if it is brown in color, that shopkeeper is selling old stock to you. Just don't even touch it. Next time the person tries to educate you, you teach him back.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, madam. Okay.
So that's all from the chat box, sir. So this last question is from myself, sir. So
yes, sir.
as you said, we have to see the quality of paper. Like if it is highly dense, then it is good quality.
Yes. Yes,
But
sir.
there are still some adulteration also prevailing in paper.
Very
Apart
much.
from that, on what grading do we segregate these papers, sir? Only on size or?
Pepper is only graded on size, and one more quality check of pepper is liter to kg ratio. If you take 1 kilo of pepper, what is its volume in liters? You can take a 1 liter container, take 1 kg of pepper, and when you fill the 1 kg into the 1 liter container, there should be still balance space left in that 1 liter container, which means 1 kg is less than 1 liter volume. You get me, the volume wise.
Yes.
Okay, when the volume of 1 kg is less than 1 liter, that means density is good. If you 1 kg pepper, usually you will find if you go to the market, adulterated pepper, if you buy, take 1 kg and put it into 1 liter, it will be more than what the 1 liter container can hold. It will come out of the container. That means that pepper is not good.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, so one visible indication that you can all have is a 1 liter container versus a 1 kg pepper. That 1 kg pepper should go inside the container, and probably still in that 1 liter container, another 100 ml space balance should be there. That kind of a dense pepper is very good. Pepper density cannot be artificially created. It is a natural phenomenon. But they can increase the size of pepper artificially by adding moisture just after harvest, keeping it for 2 days and then drying it. It looks bolder in size, but it will have no density. It will be like cotton or paper, which has no weight. So such pepper will be higher in volume. That's why when you put that poor pepper, the bad quality pepper, when you put in a liter container, it will come out of it. It's more than that because only by weight it is there, but by volume it will be more than 1 liter. When it's more than 1 liter, that means it's inferior quality.
Correct.
This is one visible indication you can take when you buy pepper in the market. That's why I said you can feel it in your hand. When you take and feel itself, you will know roughly the weight. Once or twice when you do it, you will understand. Okay?
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Right.
Hello.
Participants?
Hello.
Yes, there is somebody saying hello. Mr. Prasanna? Yes, Mr. Prasanna.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Prasanna, sir. I'm Associate Professor, Commerce Department, sir.
Okay,
For
my
the
Dr. Prasanna.
Past 3 days, I am listening this lecture. Very excellently given knowledge regarding the food and every things.
Oh, thank
I
you. Prasanna.
heard your lecture today. I want to ask one question, sir.
Yes, sir.
That is cardamom pepper.
Yes, sir.
This regularly can be taken to remove this common cold, usually which appears in children and the adults.
Yes,
Can
yes, sir.
you use this
Very much. Very much. You can take it regularly. If you have small babies in the house or getting regular cold and phlegm, what I will suggest is take little cardamom, powder it nicely. So, see, usually when you powder cardamom, that smell will come into the room, isn't it, sir? That smell will spread. So keep powdered cardamom a little bit in near that baby, wherever that baby, if it's a very small infant baby, just keep it somewhere near that room. When the baby inhales it, it's very good for the baby system. The baby should not eat it, but the baby can smell it, and that air with cardamom flavor can go through the lungs of the baby, which will bring out the phlegm and it will bring out the breathing difficulties. Cardamom is, in fact, I used to cure my fever by going and standing inside that cardamom stock room. I'll close the door, stand there 15 minutes, any fever will go. But I'll start crying because your eyes will start tearing because of the burning sensation.
But regarding that cardamom, you said something, sir, that green and something we have to be careful, sir.
Sir, you have to be very careful, sir. Market cardamom is a total... See, you are buying cardamom for health benefit, but if you buy in the market with the caustic soda clean cardamom, it's going to burn your intestine out.
Pepper, cardamom, and this clove. This powder we can take daily, 1 spoon like that. Half spoon.
Yes, sir. Powder, I will suggest you buy the clove and powder, sir. Clove powder also adulteration is there. Any powder you buy, adulteration is there. If you buy pepper and powder it in your house, best. If you buy clove and powder in your house, best. Just use a mixie. If the mixie is there powdering, you use a manual stone thing and do it, sir. That is the best thing to do. Because in this powder, they are adulterating a lot of things because the value is high. A lot of adulteration is there and very difficult to monitor that adulteration.
With honey, if you take, it's very good, no, sir? It's
The pepper with honey is a very beautiful combination, sir. All your throat infections, your voice, especially for people who sing and all that, it's very good actually.
Okay. Thank you,
So
sir. Thank you.
maybe-
Thank you very much. And thank you to the madam also, giving me
Yes.
opportunity to speak something, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Nice to speak to you.
Okay, sir. So thank you so much for your fabulous presentation on different types of spices in your traditional cuisine, sir.
Thank
And
you.
so, though we are not, you are not new to GCT as well as Industrial Biotechnology Department, I think today by this platform, we have made our participants also to enjoy the essence of your talk, sir. So I'm very sure that the participants would definitely be enlightened with various unknown facts. Though we take all these spices regularly, you have unrevealed various facts which we never knew at all, sir. So thank you so much on behalf of the participants and on behalf of GCT and IBT department. We thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anu. It's been such a pleasure joining you all this afternoon. Thank you all for being a part of this session. And thank you, GCT, the management and the staff there, Anu and others who coordinated this thing so well. God bless you all and wish you all a healthy life forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So before we get into the formal vote of thanks session, participants, can anyone wish to give direct feedback? You can unmute and talk if you wish to give feedback. Any participants?
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm Dr. Prasanna from Hyderabad, madam.
Yes, sir.
And, I belong to commerce background, but I have shown a lot of interest in this particular seminar, and you have selected me for the seminar. I'm very thankful to you. And such kind of seminars you should arrange in the future also, particularly regarding food technology and everything. I'm very much interested. And in these 3 days, I have learned so many things. I have got a lot of information regarding the food products and everything. So I'm thankful to you and thankful to the principal and all the organizers and team. And I congratulate you for completion of successfully this 3 days workshop. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Do anyone wish to give feedback?
Hi. So this side Aishwarya. I am a GCT student. I was a GCT student. Now I work in a food industry. So I just got to know about it from a colleague. Ma'am, I hope you remember me. Anu ma'am was my faculty advisor and Madhu ma'am was my project guide. So I got to hear about this through Dhanupriya, one of the speakers of this 3-day session. And I was like, yeah, it's coordinated by GCT and I know a lot of people who are the speakers. So the topic was interesting as well as the speakers were really interesting. So good to be part of this. Ma'am, do conduct a lot of sessions like this and we'd love to take part in these and learn a lot about stuff which are going on in the industry. So thank you. Thanks for conducting this, ma'am.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anyone, any other, do you wish to give feedback?
Hello, sir. Can you listen my sound?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
I am Mangesh Pandit, ma'am, from College of Agriculture, Nagpur.
Yes, sir.
Last 3 days, I gained much knowledge of foods or traditional foods, and I'm really thankful to all organizers as well as all the speaker who speak the valuable knowledge of the food. And I am really thankful for all you, as well as another webinar of such topics. Please update to all of as well as for me. And thank you to all of you, and I have a healthy and beautiful life to all of you, sir. Is getting my message?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have got. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
In future, if we conduct, definitely we would invite you all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, fine then. Madhu ma'am, shall we go to the official vote of thanks?
Yes, ma'am, we'll proceed.
Yeah.
Madam, hello, ma'am. Hello,
Yes, sir.
ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Actually, madam, actually for yesterday, due to busy classwork schedule and due to my laptop issue, yesterday I cannot able to fill that feedback form, madam. Today also it's not working, madam.
No, sir. I'll open the responses and give you the link, sir. Shortly, I'll give you.
But that link is not working properly, madam. Please provide me attendance for the yesterday's session, madam.
Okay, sir. Sure, sure. It will be considered, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Madhu ma'am, you can start.
It gives me indeed a great pleasure and honor to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this webinar a resounding success. I would like to thank our distinguished guest speakers for making excellent presentation and that made the webinar interesting and meaningful. I would like to express my profound gratitude to our principal ma'am, Dr. P. Tamarai ma'am, for giving us the opportunity to conduct this webinar. I would also like to thank our beloved HOD, Dr. J. Jayanti ma'am, for her moral support and guidance. As no program can become successful with a single person, I extend my big thanks to all the participants for the active participation in the webinar. I would also like to thank TechCube 3 for sponsoring this event, and I wish to thank my students, Vineet and team, for helping us to design the brochure. Finally, I would like to thank my partner and co-coordinator, Ms. Anu, for traveling along with me throughout this event. Once again, I thank you all for your support and cooperation. With a happy note, this is Madhuvanti and Anu signing off. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much, sir. Shaji sir, thank you so much.
Thank you, Anu, and bye to everybody. Wish you all the
Okay,
best.
sir.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Dear participants, so we are here. We come to the end of this webinar. I have posted the feedback session for afternoon as well as morning's feedback session also. Link. So kindly fill it, and short while you will be getting the link for quiz also. So the quiz will be opened by tomorrow evening 6 o'clock. So before that, try to fill the quiz. So attendance and quiz is mandatory to get the e-certificate. So kindly cooperate in this regard. And thank you so much. I joined with Madhuvanti ma'am in thanking you all. We had a great audience for the past 3 days. Thank you so much. And within a week or 10 days, we'll be providing you the certificates also. Thank you so much. Madhu ma'am, you can. Yes, sir. I'll provide. Yeah, I have posted, sir.
Laptop nahi choda.
So try to finish the quiz also because it is highly mandatory for getting e-certificate. It will be open. The quiz link will be opened by tomorrow 6 p.m. Till 6 p.m. it will be opened. So thank you once again. Thank you so much for your coordination, and we'll meet at some time. Thank you so much. Bye.
रुको डॉक्टर ईमेल एड्रेस बैठो दो फोन दो यूनिवर्सल रुपीतम में भाई फूड पढ़ा है, हमको सब आता है। क्विज का लिंक दिए हैं, फूड का सब्जेक्ट है, आप फूड आप पढ़ा है ना, मुझे आंसर बताओ। Which of the following is an advantage of food processing? Adds extra nutrient to some food item. or removal of toxin and preserving food for longer, availability for seasonal food throughout the year, और ABC all होगा क्या?
और भी होगा
हाँ?
हाँ और होगा
Certain traditional thermal processing technique affect the nutritional property of food.
ये क्या इसमें क्या होगा पॉइंट मिलेगा तो
सर्टिफिकेट देंगे कुछ मतलब कुछ स्कोर करना पड़ेगा मिनिमम 60% समथिंग या 80%.
अच्छा फिर आप
नहीं,
नेट देख देख के कर दीजिए कुछ